Hello people, this is Sonali, the Melodramatic Bookworm. If you've been here before, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to the Melodramatic Bookworm family. Also welcome to my July 2022 wrap-up, in which I tell you about the books that I read in July 2022, and I am filming this 5 days from the end of July. I don't usually do this. I wait until the month is over and then film my wrap-ups, but we will be moving in a few days and I don't know if I will be able to actually sit down and film this entire video at once. So what I'm making it easier for me, and what I will be doing is I will film short reviews and my wrap up of the books that I have read so far, and then as and when it comes I will add clips of the books that I do read before putting this video up. So editing is a game changer. That's what it is. But yes, in today's video I will be talking to you about the books I read in July 2022, and there are 12 books so far, which is great because I feel like right now I'm getting my reading mojo back. I've read some great books in July, plus I've also done videos for a lot of these books, videos and blog post reviews as well. So if you'd like to go check those out, then I leave the links here as well as in the description box below. Please go check them out. Without any further ado, let's dive right into this video and let me share with you all the books that I read in July 2022. First up is Steven Johnson and the Mission 2 by Yashesh Rathod. This is the second in the Steven Johnson series, and this follows Steven Johnson and his partner who are going through Hong Kong, which has just been attacked by a bioweapon, and they are wearing gas masks and taking all the protection and all of that, but they have to find out what is going on, who caused this, and they have to stop it. But behind the scenes there is this scientist called Serizawa who has made this bioweapon, and now he has sold it, and Steven Johnson and his partner, they have to find all of these people who are behind the attacks, and they have to stop them and they have to save their families. Yashesh Rathod's books have great premises, but I feel like the writing and the execution lets them down. It could be so much better with quite a bit of editing and polishing, but it's okay. It's a fun, fast-paced read that you can get through. I just got through it in one sitting, and that's saying something because my attention has been all over the place. But yeah, Steven Johnson and the Mission 2, I did a full blog review of it. If you'd like to go check that out, I leave the link in the description box below. Next is a book that I read for that popular book talk romances thing, and I did not like it at all. The book is The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas, and this is the story of Catalina Martin, who does not have a date to her sister's wedding in Spain. In comes Aaron Blackford, who is her sworn enemy at office, and he offers to be her date. Based on this flimsy excuse, these two are supposed to be enemies at office and at each other's throats, and now these two have to build up a slow rapport, and then they go to Spain where he pretends to be her boyfriend. And yeah, the enemies to lover trope as well as the fake dating trope is in here in lots, but I just felt like the overuse of oh, he's got blue eyes, he's got ocean blue eyes, those ocean blue eyes were staring back at me, this lake, this river, this pond, and everything seems so contrived in the whole book. Personally, for me at least, I know people who have loved this book and I see why they love it, but yes, this isn't something that worked for me, and just a huge disappointment. Next up is Death of Asika and Other Stories by Abhay Dev. This is a collection of short stories in which in each story the author brings up different pertinent philosophical questions, ranging from a child's fears to a person thinking about what it means to be alive, and about whether one's life is better than a dog's, or if a dog's life is better than ours, and then to the very end where the huge question of do you know who I am comes up, and he encapsulates this with the questions that plague humanity, and he does a great job of it. It's a quick read, it's a very fast read, because each of these stories you can fly through just one and a half hour and you will be done with this book. And I really enjoyed reading this collection. I related to a couple of characters in these stories, especially the one called The Woman with Issues. My only complaint is that it is a little repetitive, and the dialogue becomes a little awkward in places, but otherwise it's a great read and I would definitely recommend this to you. I did a video review for this book. If you'd like to go check that out, link here as well as in the description box below. Next up is another romance book that I read for the popular Book Talk Romances reading vlog that I did, and that is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is the story of Olive Smith, who doesn't believe in long-term romantic relationships, but her best friend, who has a crush on a person that Olive went on a couple of dates with, thinks that she should not date that particular person because Olive was out with him, the best friend code and all of that. But to make her best friend Anne believe that she is in a relationship, she is dating, and that she would have no problem with her dating Jeremy, that guy, Olive kisses the first man that she comes across in a corridor at the university that they are in. And that man is none other than Adam Carlson, who is the terror of the university. But for some reason, this guy, he agrees to be her fake boyfriend and he agrees to keep this charade a secret. But what will emerge from here, what will happen from here, forms the entire story. And I really had fun reading this because there's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of build up to where it actually all comes together. Like, this was one of the few romance books of in recent time that has made me feel things, and that has made me smile and just feel warm inside and want to punch anyone who comes across Olive and Adam's way. I really enjoyed reading this book. It was great, and I would definitely highly recommend. Next up is Interior Chinatown by Charles Yu. This was a gift from a Bookstagram friend. Thank you, Kritika, for this. And I absolutely love this book, and I want to tell you that. But this is the story of Willis Wu, who is in Chinatown. I think this is set in Los Angeles. And in Hollywood, he gets to play different bit players, but there's a certain level to which Asian characters are always taken up to, and then they go back to being the same old characters after a sort of recycle period, for lack of a better word. The way generations of Asian families have been discriminated and criticized against is told in this story, which is told in a screenplay format. I mean, you have to catch it from the undertones because it's not said outright, but it's there, it's right there. It talks about how Vietnamese, Chinese, Japanese, everybody are considered the absolute same. People in Hollywood don't give a dash. The way he goes from generic Asian man to kung fu guy, who is supposed to be who is considered in their circles to be a pinnacle of making it in Hollywood. It forms this story, and it's just gut-wrenching in so many places, and it's also funny, and the combination of the two makes it delight to read in its own way, because reading it in a screenplay format is weird, but this is one that I would definitely recommend, and I'm glad that Kritika got me this book for my birthday last year, and I'm glad that I read it. Next up is a book that I forgot to include, and this brings my count to 13 actually. But the book is Teen Machine by Ishita Agarwal. This was a review copy sent by Rupa Publications. Thank you, Rupa, for the copy. This is a story of Avni, a 10th grade student who now has to make the decision whether she wants to do med, pre-med, non-med, or commerce, or the decisions that 10th grade people have to make. And now she is forced in from all sides by peers, by her parents, by her friends, by her teachers, by society as a whole, because of how much pressure it puts on students to make that decision. It's literally at its throats to make the decision. And what Avani goes through as she goes through the process forms this entire story. And I really love the way the author has brought through the doubts that emerge in a student's mind, because we all vacillate 10,000 times before coming to a decision, especially a decision as big as that. Unless someone knows what they want to do in life, it's a difficult decision to make. And to see Avani's indecisions and to see her moving back and forth, I enjoyed reading it, but I do think that it becomes a little repetitive and it's a little round about the corner. It's very self-pitying, but this is a good book. It sheds light on the psyche of the students going through whatever they are going through at such a critical point in their lives. Next is another romance book that I read for the Popular Book Talk Romances video, and oh my god, I hate it with everything I have. And I didn't know it was possible to hate a book written by an author one of whose earlier books is one of your favorite books, and that author is Colleen Hoover, and the book is It Ends With Us. And oh my god, the main characters meet on a roof on a day when each of them has something going in their lives, and then things happen. We go into her past, and we see how she grew up with an abusive father, and how she always resented her mother for not taking that step. It just kept going, reflecting in her present, and it just made me very angry how their relationship did not make sense. It felt like to me it just was so contrived, brought together, and then bringing back a character from the past so that you have a convenient plot point. It just didn't sit well with me. There were a lot of other things that I had problems with, especially the way the female main character, I don't even remember her name, it's like I've blocked her out or something. She sort of says that I don't want to give up on my marriage just because he lost it in a minute of anger. It sort of becomes double standardy. So basically, It Ends With Us, I'm never recommending ever. I gave it like 2 stars, I think. Was it? Yeah, 2 stars. And it's one of my least favorite books of this year. Okay, next, again, another romance book for the Popular Book Talk Romances video, and that is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is an enemies to lovers done right. I absolutely love this book. I love how Lucy and Joshua's chemistry built up. I mean, even when they were not when they are supposed to be hating each other, I could just feel the tension crackling between them. Lucy and Joshua work at a publishing company. They are secretaries to the CEOs. CEOs because 2 companies merged to form this current company. And the CEOs are at loggerheads, which means that Lucy and Joshua are also at loggerheads. And Joshua is sometimes an ass to Lucy, and Lucy sets him right on it, and I love that because I love seeing that. And the way their equation shifts and changes, and how some truths come forward, and how the whole thing forms is this whole story, which is like, it made me feel things. It made me feel very emotional for some reason. I don't know why, but I enjoyed The Hating Game. I really loved how the author has brought about all of this. Like, there's character, I wouldn't say growth, but you will see the weight of a character when you're reading about them. But I do think that ending was abrupt. I would have loved to see a little bit more banter from both of them, and a little bit more about what happens in their lives from both of them. But other than that, I love The Hating Game. I would definitely recommend it. Next up is Hellfire by Lisa Ghazi. This was sent to me as a gift by a dear friend. Thank you for this copy. But unfortunately, I ended up not liking it as much as I thought I would. This was one of the books that I thought I would rate 5 stars, but I ended up rating only 3 stars. Anyway, so this is a story of Lovely and Beauty, 2 sisters who have been kept inside their homes under the strict supervision of their mother. And now at 40 years old, on her birthday, Lovely is finally able to go out. So she goes into the market, she spends the day by herself, and she's like, now I have freedom, so even if I go back 10 minutes late, I'm going to get the same whipping. Even if I go back 4 hours late, I'm going to get the same whipping. So she's now finding out more about this whole world. And Beauty, on the other hand, she is simmering with envy, because her mother has never let her go out on her own, even though both of them are like middle-aged now. All their mother wanted to do was protect them, but she managed to just keep them inside and turn them into these disheveled people who don't know anything about the world. Okay, I like the concept, and I like how the book shows the concept of the effect of captivity on mental health, and how there are different other factors as well that affect mental health and what it can push you to do. But somehow it felt very stunted and disconnected. Like, it is continuous. Like, we don't know which perspective we are reading the story from until a certain point in the story, and it just keeps shifting and changing even through that continuous flow, and that isn't something that I liked in this book, at least. But I do think that it is a good study on how mental health can be affected in these situations, and how people should not do shit like this. Next up is Sadie by Courtney Summers. This is an amazing book. The audiobook especially is such a fabulous production. This is the story of Sadie, who sets out to find the man who murdered her sister. This is told in documentary format, in which a radio podcast is now on this trail. They are investigating what happened to Sadie, because Sadie has also gone missing now. And as they find out, and as they go on this journey, hot on the trails of Sadie's journey itself, it's like so chilling. It's gory and violent in a lot of places, and it just makes you angry at how some people can do things to other people. I want to say that I loved reading this book, and I will say that I loved reading this book. I loved listening to the audiobook, because it's such a great production in itself. But be careful, because there are mentions of abuse, there's murder, there's also rape and child abuse, and a lot of gore and violence as well. Some of the violence is indicated, it's not mentioned, but it's there. But this is one that I would definitely recommend. Go ahead, keep these trigger warnings in mind before you pick this book up. It's amazing. Next is Heft by Doali Islam. This is one book that I picked up on a whim, and I just was in the mood for poetry. This is a very thin book of poetry, about 90 pages or something, and some of this is so powerful. It's told in a different format. Let me show you. It's told like this, if it focuses enough. So the book is like this, but it's told like this. And some of the poetry in here is very powerful. I really loved it. I had to sit back and think for a few minutes before I could continue with the next one. But there are some parallel poetry that I was not a huge fan of. I mean, maybe because I didn't understand it or what, I don't know. But other than the parallel poetry, every single poem in here packs a punch. It's simply brilliant. I just think this is a great poetry collection. Next is the last romance book that I read for the popular book talk romances video, and which I absolutely loved. It was my favorite of the lot, and the book is called Book Lovers by Emily Henry. I didn't think I'd be saying this, but I finally read a Emily Henry book that I absolutely love. This is a story of Nora Stephens, who doesn't have great luck when it comes to relationships. She is the woman who men keep dumping when they go to small towns for business, and they end up liking someone over there, and they dump her because of it. This has happened to her multiple times, and the first time she meets Charlie, she has just been dumped over the phone, and she thinks that Charlie is this terrifying editor of sorts. But Nora is no less. She is a literary agent who is known as the Shark. When 2 years later, Libby, her sister, she takes her to a small town because she wants to take some time away. She is expecting her third child, and she wants some me time before the child comes, and she wants to spend some time with her sister and all of that. Nora bumps into Charlie, obviously. And now what happens in this whole small town thing? Does she get her small town dream? Forms this entire story. I mean, it's a bad gist, to be very honest, but I really love this book because it not only focuses on the romance, but it also focuses on the sibling relationships, on familial relationships. It tells us about how Nora is with her sister and what things change between them and how it affects Nora and how it affects the way she sees the world as well. And I really love that. Yes, I do think a couple of things could have been better, but then again, it's fiction, anything can happen, etc, 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 is what I'm telling myself. But then again, this book is great. I really enjoyed reading it. I loved Nora, especially the way she is a shark, the way she stands up for her clients, but she also knows what to do in order to make her clients work better, and it's great. I absolutely love this book, would definitely recommend. If you'd like to go check that video out, I think I've probably already added cards to that video here, so please go check it out. The link is in the description box below. And the last book that I've read in July as of today is Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, and I absolutely love this book. This is the story of Jason Dessen, who is a professor in a college. He's a professor or a lecturer in a college, and one evening when he is returning from his usual haunt, the bar, he is knocked unconscious by an abductor who asks him if he is happy in his life before abducting him and before knocking him unconscious. He wakes up and he finds himself surrounded by people he doesn't know. He's smiling, someone is smiling at him and says welcome back, but he doesn't know any of them. In this world that he's woken up in, Jason, his wife is not his wife, his son is not his son, he doesn't work at the college, and he has no idea what's going on. But there's a lot of backstory to this, and a lot of build-up happens, and it comes to a head in such a fantastic manner. I think I know why Blake Crouch is so I wouldn't say revered, but he is loved in the science fiction circles. I've seen this book going around and I was really excited to read it. And the fact that this book is easy to read, it's not like crammed with physics terms and all. I mean, there are a few, but even if you don't understand them, it's completely fine, because you get the gist of it, you get the essence of it. And I love this book because of how Blake Crouch has written this. This is like something else. You are sitting on the edge of your seat, trying to find out what exactly is happening and how Jason is going to solve this problem for himself, and will he be able to get back to the life that he has known. I haven't read science fiction as this in a long time, and I'm hoping that the other books of Blake Crouch's that I have on my TBR, which are the 3 books in the Wayward Pines trilogy, I hope that I end up loving them as much as I love this, if not more. Highly recommend this. Please go pick it up. Hi, as promised, I'm here to talk about the remaining 2 books that I finished reading in July 2022. The first of these 2 is Nick and Charlie by Alice Oseman. I don't have the physical copy with me because I left it back in India. But that is a novella of sorts that I think it comes after Solitaire, and it follows Nick and Charlie's relationship, and Nick is moving away to university and how their relationship develops from there, how Charlie feels about Nick going away, how they solve the problems that are cropping up between them, forms that story. And it's like you can read this novella in about 1.5 hours max tops, because Alice Oseman's writing is so easy, it's so fluid, and Nick and Charlie are like such familiar characters, given that I've read only Heartstopper, but still I feel protective about them. The only thing that I did not like a lot about this book is that it was a little repetitive. Like every 4 pages you go back to the same point. I know teenage can be one of those times in life when you keep going over the same things over and over again until you come upon a solution, but this seemed a little dragged to me. I can't believe I'm saying this about Alice Oseman's writing, but that's what happened. But I'll still give this book a 4 stars because it's Nick and Charlie and because it's Alice Oseman. Yeah, that was the 14th book that I finished reading in July 2022. And just one second. Okay, so I forgot this book downstairs. But yeah, so the last book that I read in July 2022, technically I didn't finish reading this book in July, I finished reading it in August, but I read a chunk of Warlord of Ayodhya Rebellion by Shatrujit Nath in July, so I'm going to consider this as part of July. Yeah, my channel, my reading, my rules. So that's how we are rolling with it anyway. So this is the story of Bharat, Lord Rama's brother. I mean, he isn't just Lord Rama's brother, but we don't read a lot about the man who ruled Ayodhya in Lord Rama's absence. He refused to take the throne because he felt that it was not his right. He didn't want the throne. He just ruled in Lord Ram's stead until he got back from his exile, but he didn't want to do it, but he still had to do it. And how he went through it while battling with familial issues and political issues with the people around him, and who he had to trust and who he had to realize that he could not trust. This is a lot. Like, we see from Bharat's perspective everything that's going on in Ayodhya, and it's a lot, but it's amazing. This book is so gripping, and the way that the author has written all of this, it's a compassionate telling of Bharat's side of the story, and it's very compelling. I enjoyed this book to no end. I actually did a full gushing book review of this book on my blog. If you'd like to go check that out, then link will be in the description box below. And I would highly recommend that you read this. This is one of the best books I've read in 2022, and I cannot wait for the second book in this series. This is one that I will definitely highly recommend. Please do go read this. It's great. So those plus the ebooks that I've mentioned to you about were the books that I read in July 2022. Which of these books have you read? Which ones did you like? Which ones did you not like? What books did you read in July 2022? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you like this video, please like it and share it to spread the word. And if you like my content and would like to see more from me, don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the bell icon beside the subscribe button to get notified as and when I post new videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Until next time, keep reading, keep watching, and add melodrama to your life.